AMD Ryzen 7000 series CPUs actually go up for sale today. All the reviews went up starting yesterday, and today I had a choice for the video I was going to make. I could either continue to stare listlessly ahead as I run benchmark after benchmark to supplement my initial 7950X review, or I could try to do something else. And I've been wanting to focus on the motherboards versus the CPUs because there are now 4 chipsets to choose from on the AM5 platform. Not just X670 and X670E that are launched as of now, but also B650 and B650E that are launching in October. At the same time, my friends over at Gigabyte said, "Hey Paul, we have a massive media kit to send you, and we'd love to sponsor an unboxing video and have you check out our debut AM5 motherboard." So I said, that sounds great. I'm gonna do that instead of staring listlessly at the benchmarking screen. I can pick that up again tomorrow. Today, let's find out about the quartet of chipsets available on the new platform, and also find out what Gigabyte has in store with their new Aorus AM5 motherboards.
Excellent!
So AMD's new platform is AM5, and that term is typically used to refer to both the socket as well as the overall platform. There are some changes this time around. For example, it's an LGA socket this time, so the pins are actually on the motherboard rather than on the CPU itself. There's more power delivery available with up to 230 watts of socket power, and we have support for DDR5 as well as PCIe 5.0. Also backwards compatibility with AM4 coolers, which does ease the upgrade path a little bit for anyone who's already invested in a nice cooler. Now, a specific thing that I've pointed out and will continue to point out is that AMD has promised platform support through 2025. And when they originally launched AM4 back in 2016, they said they were going to support that through 2020, and they actually extended that through 2022. So I really like this because it provides an upgrade path for home builders and a little bit more confidence that you will be able to upgrade your system down the line as new hardware launches. And then one other tidbit from AMD's keynotes is they say motherboards should start at $125 US, and that's probably going to be the B series chipset motherboards that are launching next month. But on that note, let's get into the tutorial part of this video, which is that there are 4 chipsets for this platform: X670 Extreme, X670, B650 Extreme, and B650. What is the differences between them? Should you save some money with the B series chipsets and wait till October, or should you drop your cash on an X series chipset right now? So we'll start with a nice chart from this Anandtech article, which I will link in the description. And if you're not concerned with I/O, these are the main differences between the chipsets. I/O is a big difference as well, and we'll get to that in just a moment. But note everything that's the same. You have memory overclocking support and CPU overclocking support across the board. You're going to get that no matter what. Although I will note that less expensive boards and sometimes B series boards can be less effective for overclocking because they don't have quite as good a power delivery, especially if you're trying to overclock something like a 16-core 7950X. But you're also going to get Wi-Fi 6E support, quad-channel DDR5 support, up to 14 super speed USB 20 gigabits per second ports, 24 total CPU PCI Express lanes. That's on top of the 4 that go to the chipset itself. And for M.2 slot support, that's for storage drives, M.2 NVMe SSDs, you should have at least one PCIe 5.0 slot no matter what chipset you go with. So the main differences are all in this first line here: the CPU PCI Express support, what version PCIe 5.0 or 4.0 you get, and what type of connectivity, basically how many slots you get. And for better or for worse, AMD has provided some flexibility for the motherboard manufacturers to go different routes for it, which is why it's a little bit more difficult to explain what you get with what chipset, and that's part of the reason why I wanted to make this video. With the top-end chipset, X670E, these are going to be the most expensive motherboards. You will have a mandatory 2 PCIe 5.0 slots. For standard X670, you may or may not get PCIe 5.0, so you will need to refer to the specific motherboard that you're looking at. You will at least get one by 16 PCIe 4.0 slot, and I feel like that should go without saying, but the motherboard manufacturer has the option to make that a Gen 5 slot or a Gen 4 slot. Of course, also with X670, you're basically going to have double the I/O available versus the B series chipsets. Again, I'll come back to that in just a second. But to round this out, for B650E, you will also be guaranteed a PCIe 5.0 slot, or rather, it's highly suggested, which I feel like could be a little bit more firm, but you'll probably be getting one PCIe 5.0 slot for your top slot in most B650E chipset motherboards, although it's probably worth it to double check just to be sure. And finally, with standard B650, you'll likely just have a PCIe 4.0 slot for your main 16-speed slot for your graphics card. But again, you might have a 5.0 slot there, so you should check the motherboard specs. Here's a look at the general chipset block diagrams as provided by AMD. So this has options for the motherboard manufacturers for how they might implement the different types of I/O available, but the simplest way to look at the difference between these X670 and B650 chipsets is X670 has two chipsets. There's an upstream chipset and a downstream chipset, which basically doubles your I/O over B650. So here, for example, you can have one super speed USB 20 gigabit per second port, whereas for this slot on the X series chipsets, you could have two super speed USB 20 gigabits per second ports. Likewise, with your supplemental PCI Express lanes, you can go with 4 PCIe 3.0 lanes or 8 PCIe 3.0 lanes. Note that with the PCIe 4.0 lanes, there's actually 4 of the lanes that connect these two chipsets together. That's why it doesn't double here. It goes from 8 to 12 versus going from 8 to 16. And here to show you that block diagram implemented with an actual motherboard is a Tom's Hardware article where they happen to have a Gigabyte block diagram. So here at the top you can see your AM5 CPU with all of the connectivity associated with it. Then you have a PCIe by 4 connection to an AMD chipset here, and since this is an X series chipset motherboard, either X670 or X670E, you can see that initial chipset with all of the I/O connected to it. And these were Gigabyte selections based on the choices that were shown in that previous block diagram. And then you have a second chipset with more I/O connected to it, and that's what's basically giving you double the chipset I/O with the X series motherboards versus the B series boards. So there's a quick rundown of the differences between the chipsets available on AM5, and again, with the X series motherboards, you're likely going to see better build quality, more expensive boards as well, but also boards that are better suited for overclocking, as well as extreme applications like using LN2. Whereas with the B series chipset motherboards, you're probably going to be seeing more bang for the buck type boards. And for me, that's often where I direct budget builders, so it's nice that AMD has set the debut for the B series boards just 1 month later, and we're expecting those again to launch in October. That said, I think we can now move on to our feature presentation, and that is opening this huge freaking box and seeing what the heck Gigabyte has put inside. I'm pretty sure there's at least 3 AM5 motherboards. All right, here goes. This is ridiculously huge. Oh. Ooh, this is metal. I have a metal, there's an actual piece of metal here. So apart from the metal piece, it says AMD Ryzen, AMD socket AM5 X670. We've got a couple motherboards nestled in there. This is the X670 Aorus Elite AX. So this is the only non-E X670 board. Ooh, that's really comfortably packed in there. Board number 2, the X670E Aorus Master. And what's this? Oh, board number 3, the X670E Aorus Extreme. I feel like Extreme is a bit of a theme for this this launch, but I'm extremely unsure where this one actually came from. But I'm, of course, extremely happy that we do get to have 3 boards instead of 2. I mean, the more the merrier, right? Now let's see what else is hidden in here under the foam. Ooh, we have some Aorus RGB DDR5 memory. Oh, this is an Aorus Gen 4 7000S SSD. I will say I appreciate Aorus's naming scheme for their SSDs because they typically name it the speed that it's rated for. So 7000S is 7000 megabytes per second sequential reads, and roughly that for sequential writes too. Oh, we got a special note. I didn't even read the special note. Hey, Paul's Hardware, Christmas has come early and we bestow upon you the latest in our line of AM5 motherboards. Obviously, the party wouldn't be complete without some friends to play with, so we included those too. We hope you enjoy the PCIe 5th gen connectivity, 6,000 plus memory compatibility, and my personal favorite, the easy latch button. More foam, oh wow, it's getting intense down here. All right, we basically have like a whole computer now. This is a power supply. Nice, wow, pretty dense little unit here. This is a 1000 watt Gigabyte ultra durable UD Gold, the UD 1000 GM, PCIe 5.0. Ooh, that's a 12 VH power right there. 12 VH power, look at it. Look at it, it's even got the 4 extra pins, I think, so it can do 600 watts. I am only slightly running out of space here, but the last thing that's in here, other than the cables for the power supply, is an actual all-in-one liquid cooler. So the fans are here, and this one isn't in like a box, so I gotta pull it out a piece at a time. Mounting kit and hardware, as well as this AIO, which looks like a 280 millimeter all-in-one liquid cooler with an Aorus pump block unit there. I'm not sure what the model is for this or anything like that, but it's got pretty thick kind of sleeved tubes here though, and pretty beastly looking pump block unit there, I would say as well. And that, I mean, apart from maybe a cable or two here or there, it appears to be all that's in here. We've emptied out our media kit But look at that. Look at all that swag. Pretty impressive. And it's kind of cool that, you know, you can actually put together a mostly Aorus system now, since they have like the memory, they got the SSD, they got the AIO cooler. Power supply too, of course. And I am getting, you know, kind of happy that I'm actually seeing PSUs that have that 12VH power connector, because I will admit that that is a bit handier to plug and unplug than like 3 of the 8 pins. Of course, Aorus makes graphics cards too as well. I'm imagining we're going to be seeing some like Radeon 7000 series cards from them. But here's the deal. To round out this video, I've got some of the detailed stats for each of these motherboards, so I'm going to take each one out of the box and give each one a closer look, and we'll see which one you guys like best. Let us begin with the X670 Aorus Elite AX. And this is, again, the only non-E motherboard that we have here from our trifecta. And I have confirmed that this board does not have PCIe 5.0 for the main graphics card slot. It has PCIe 4.0. But something to keep in mind for anyone who's considering PCIe 5.0 versus 4.0 is that NVIDIA has just announced their 40 series of graphics cards, and they do not even have PCIe 5.0. So we're not sure if that's something that's going to be coming with AMD's Radeon 7000 series or not. But NVIDIA decided that that wasn't necessary as far as bandwidth concerns for their 40 series. So for gamers and people on a budget, the prospect of the 5.0 is something you may mainly be interested in for storage or, again, future-proofing. But here's a quick look at the X670 Aorus Elite AX. For the power delivery on this board, you have a 16+2+2 design. That's 16 for the V-core, 2 for the SoC and memory, and then 2 that are miscellaneous for providing supplemental power for PCI Express, for example. Several M.2 slots on this board. 2 are under this panel right here, and then a third up here above your main PCI Express slot. I wanted to pop this off really quick so that we could see the thing that David mentioned in his note. Look, it's an easy latch. So you don't need to worry about a tiny little screw-free M.2 SSD anymore. It just latches there automatically. See, it just pops up like that. You pop it up, M.2 drive drops in, and then snaps back down. So there's a first quick look at the X670 Aorus Elite AX. Pretty full-featured board as far as I can tell. I like that it's got the fixed I/O shield there on the back, a USB 3.2 Gen 2 front panel port, easily accessible right there on the side. They've even got some nice ease of use features here, like surface-mounted power and reset buttons, as well as a surface-mounted CMOS down at the bottom. Next up, we have the X670E Aorus Master. So X670E, the extreme version of the X670 chipset, but not the extreme version of this Aorus motherboard. That's the X670E Aorus Extreme, which is still back there. Gotta be careful you don't misapply your extreme adjectives with this generation. You don't want to take things to extreme. But look, even though this is not the extreme, this is still an ATX board. This is, well, this is big and heavy. So wow, Gigabyte, just look at this. Look how huge it is. Are you sure this is not the extreme? There is another board beyond this that is even more extreme than this is. Look at these fin stacks that they have up here for cooling of the power delivery. That's insane. This board also has twin digital VRMs, 105 amp MOSFETs, and it is a 16+2+2 phase power delivery setup, as well as, of course, all of the heat sinks and everything that you have on top of here, as well as all this lovely plastic that I get to peel. Oh, look at that. I love when the plastic comes in layers, like there's a layer below and then a layer above. You get to peel one and then the other. So your full-speed PCIe Gen 5 SSDs are starting to get pretty toasty from the really fast ones that go up to like 10 gigabytes per second reads and writes. So that's why there's, again, this really, look at, it's like a skyscraper sitting on top right there. For an extra heatsink for your top M.2 slot. You also have a pretty large heatsink over the chipset down here. Again, remember there are 2 chipset chips down here. A chipset can technically be a group of chips, which is why that term still applies, even when there's actually 2 chips under there. Oh, Gigabyte, you sneaky board designers. Look at this right here. See this push button? See what that did? That released the latch right there. That's a feature that I really liked. I did a video on this feature in the past that you guys may have seen. I must say I'm happy to see that coming to more boards. But since this is an Aorus Master and it is designed for some overclocking and some pretty intense usage of the Ryzen 7000 series CPUs, you of course have that power delivery setup as well as this area over here with the surface-mounted debug as well as that power button. I gotta be honest, my arm is starting to get pretty tired just from holding this board up. But this does have full-fat PCIe 5.0 connectivity for your main graphics card slot as well as your M.2. And there's a look at the I/O again, just to round things out. And that is probably something that you'll see a lot more of with the X series chipsets versus B series. Is just more USB, more connectivity, because again, with 2 chips, you've got lots more I/O. Oh, and look, external Q Flash plus button too. That's nice. Oh, and I didn't even point out. Look at that. Look at the back. So EATX board and also a full cover rear back plate as well, which is just one of those motherboard features that I like, even though, I mean, practically speaking, it's useful for like if you set the board flat on its back and everything. I've never seen a case that actually shows off the motherboard backplate, but I'm still glad it's there. And here it is, guys, taking it all the way, going to the extreme with the X670E Aorus Extreme. This box is so extreme that it got attacked by a bear or a wildebeest or something on the way. So it's got a little bit of a ding there, but that's okay, because the hardware inside is still totally fresh and good. Oh, look at that. Just lifting it out of the box requires Herculean effort. Oh my gosh. Quick glance at the accessories, because high-end boards often have cool accessories. We got dual Wi-Fi antenna for maximum Wi-Fi, 802.11ax. We have an external USB DAC for those audiophiles out there. We have the decadence that is braided SATA cables, which is really a great way to put the finishing touch on your build. Of course, what motherboard would be complete without a bunch of stickers to put all over your space? And then there is the board, which is giving me some like kind of chromatic vibes right now. I don't know if this is just the plastic on some of these pieces or what. Whenever I do motherboard unboxings, I'm always like, oh, I should plug this in and see what it looks like lit up. But unfortunately, I really do not have time for that today. Although I will definitely be doing stuff with these boards in the future. So stay tuned, get subscribed to my channel if you're not already, because I'm gonna be putting these to use at some point. For now, I'm just really enjoying peeling up all these plastic pieces. And I will say, I appreciate that Gigabyte took the extra step of putting little tabs on most of them. Like this one right here, like I would never have known that there was a piece of plastic on that tiny little strip there if there wasn't this little tab letting me know that. Oh, that's so satisfying. I'm gonna get fingerprints all over these now that I've peeled all these plastic pieces off, but that's okay. So there is the Aorus Extreme, and there's definitely something funky going on with there's gotta be some cool RGB-ness going on underneath this panel here that I can't quite see because the lights aren't actually on, but hopefully we'll figure that out at some point. But again, we have the super convenient release here for your PCIe 5.0 slot up at the top. And again, that's almost necessary now because of these M.2 heat sinks that they're putting on here that are so tall. You really wouldn't have any way to access that with a graphics card actually slotted in there. So nice that you can release it with that push button over there. Again, we just have absurd fin stacks and cooling arrays on top of our power delivery here at the top of the board. This has what I imagine will be the most overkill power delivery setup by any Aorus AM5 board. Who knows, maybe they'll go beyond that at some point in the future, but for now, it's an 18+2+2 power phase design. And again, that's a direct digital VRM design with 105 amp MOSFETs on the Aorus Extreme. So you should be able to overclock your 7950X to your heart's content with this board. Again, we have a lovely back plate on the back. And again, a lot of those features that I pointed out on the Aorus Master that I liked are carried over, of course, to this board as well. Power button, the debug LED. There's your I/O all in black and red, and here you got a couple additional buttons, a clear CMOS and that Q-Flash Plus button right there too, with the Wi-Fi 6 connectivity and a couple USB-C 20 gig. Actually, one is USB-C 20 gig and one is USB-C 10 gigabit. Right there as well. So there you have it, guys, a breakdown of the new chipsets available for the AM5 platform, as well as a bit of a hype-laden unboxing of a bunch of Gigabyte Aorus motherboards, X670 as well as X670E. And I will post links to all of these down in the description below. I would like to say a huge thank you to Gigabyte for sponsoring this video, and they have suggested that they would like to maybe do further sponsored videos in the future. I told them that next time we should probably do a build or a giveaway or something like that. So if you guys have ideas, maybe for some of this hardware that's arrived, leave those in the comment section down below. Also down there you can find a link to my store at paulshardware.net where you can support my channel by buying shirts, mugs, pint glasses, as well as my new 8-bit designs. They're really nice. The shirts are very high quality and the dye is a special dye that sets into the fabric so it's nice and breathable. Also, if you like this video, hit the thumbs up button on your way out and don't forget to subscribe to my channel for more tech videos coming at you real soon. Thanks again for watching this one, guys, and we'll see you in the next video.